What's up, friends of the good mood? This is Manni and welcome to this early info video log right here. No gameplay of the upcoming War Robots Weapons and Robot Rebalance. A massive rebalance for a lot of items in the game. And also the Ragnarok test servers, Ragnarok squad will be changed too. This is for the upcoming test server this Saturday and Sunday. Both days, because both days have different changes, okay? So first off, following is the list of all changes coming to the test server. And they go hand in hand with the overall nerf of burst damage weapons. So weapons that deal an incredible amount of damage in a very short amount of time. That's what we define as burst damage weapons. And they overall received a nerf. And that also has its impact on the robots as well, and weapons in general. And take note, this is a change on, a test for the test server of War Robots. And any change mentioned here can be reworked or even cancelled entirely. It's not a garant, right? It's just tested now for Pixonic to see the results, for us to give feedback, and then they're gonna see how this is going to go further. The test is divided into 2 days. Saturday we'll have the new rebalance for weapons and robots that I'm gonna show you right now, and Sunday we'll have the updated Ragnarok squad, so the Fenrir, Loki, and Tyr in their latest version with the latest changes to their balancing as well. Okay, so let's start with the robots. Okay, there's 3 nerfs on the robots, and you guys, some of you guys may hate me for it, but for saying this, but I'm actually happy to see that the Mercury is part of the nerfs. However, it's more nerfed than I had in mind. The ability damage and the stealth duration are changed as well. I was hoping only the duration of the ability cooldown goes from 15 to 19 seconds or something, so that there's a better time for you to also attack the Mercury after its stealth jump, right? Before it jumps again. But also the ability damage is changed. 53,000 damage on the explosion with a stealth explosion, now 43,000 damage, so 10,000 less on level 8, I think. And the stealth duration goes from 5 to 4 seconds, okay? The biggest change, however, is the ability cooldown, with 15 seconds going to 19 seconds now. 4 seconds more time that you need to wait until you stealth jump again with a Mercury. Big change, and in terms of the ability cooldown, definitely the right thing to do, in my opinion. The other things are... well, they are here now, and I guess they're not too bad. Considering, one thing you need to consider, that the stealth is actually 9 seconds altogether, right? It's not 4, because you have 5 seconds stealth jump in the air, and then you land, stealth explode, and then you still have 4 seconds of stealth now. So 9 instead of 10, basically. It's not too much of a change. But yeah, so Mercury is being adjusted right here. The Hellburner receives another nerf, which is a little bit surprising, because it already got one last time. Ability damage from 59,750 to 55,000. So 4,500 or whatever damage less altogether. And the destruction damage... No, wait, that's the ability damage. And the destruction damage is when the robot goes up in flames and you kill it, is also 2,000 less. So it's overall doing slightly, very slightly less damage with its explosions altogether. Now, then we have the Invader getting a nerf with durability, so its HP, from 325,000 to 305,000 HP on level 8, I think, again. Speed goes from 40 to 44, however, so it's getting faster. May actually be an interesting thing, because now you can catch up with somebody a little bit better. The ability cooldown goes from 13 to 16 seconds. It's definitely still a nerf, but the speed here increase could allow you to get the one or the other enemy a little bit easier after your jump, or stay with them. But the 16 seconds now, the cooldown on the jump. I think that's also correct, because it was jumping really fast, and had its, weapon suppression very quickly as well. That's a little bit changed. Durability change isn't that much of a difference, but it is a difference. And then that's 3 nerfs, okay? Unfortunately, the Ares is not part of this. However, I also used the opportunity to tell Pixonic again and emphasize on the need, in my opinion, to give the Ares a little bit longer cooldown on its shield ability, right? Even if it's just 2 seconds or so, just a little bit of a longer cooldown, so it can't activate the whole built-in weapons, and 8 seconds seconds of invulnerability shield so super fast anymore. But so far it's not included here. I have given the feedback though. Tell me what you think, right? This is just one man's perspective. That doesn't mean it's also yours. Tell me what you think, okay? In the comment section. As usual, I also like to invite you to share your thoughts. And by the way, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, you like the news updates and you see the gameplay coming on Saturday with the new weapons changes and all that, and you like that, then please also subscribe to my channel here on YouTube. It will really help me out a lot. And I would appreciate it if you haven't done that yet. So, let's come to the buffs, okay? Raker gets a buff. Ability damage, 2,562 to 15,250. So, the Raker is now able to deal a significant amount of damage with its suppression shots. At long range, 600 meter range if I'm not mistaken. That's a big change. It makes the Raker a lot more interesting now, and I've just happened to record a gameplay video of the Raker that you haven't even seen yet. It's not released, but it doesn't have this change obviously yet. But you're gonna see how the Raker is still already pretty good. With this, you can do some better damage at least, and that's cool. The ability shooting mechanic has changed too. Not sure exactly what that means. Maybe it auto-aims. I don't know. Blitz Robot has gotten a buff. The durability goes from 130,000 to 145. Interesting, because I felt like the Blitz Robot was already a very dominant machine. Ability damage goes from 610 to 1,150 per bullet, and you fire like 5 or 6 bullets, I think. I would assume that's per bullet. I can't say for sure. The Aegis shield durability goes from 50 to 65,000 durability at level 8. That means it gets a lot closer to the durability of the Bulwark. I think it's not yet the Bulwark durability. There's still a difference, but I think it's closer to it now. And the speed goes from 45 to 55. That's the one big critic point that most people had with the Blitz Robot, that it was so incredibly slow between its you know, its running, its ability use, and it's now much faster and you can actually catch up with enemies now. So I think the Blitz Robot is getting a crazy buff right here. This is an insane buff. Overall, everything is amazing except this. This isn't really much of a change, but this is crazy, and this is insane. Okay? This is really a big buff for the Blitz Robot. The Hades, but keep in mind, this is still just test server. It doesn't have to mean it's coming to the live server like this, but it's tested, and it's a good indicator that this may come. The Hades receives a buff. The ability damage, so it's cannon shots, 3 shots. Now 7,500 damage instead of 15,500. So 2,000 more per shot, 6,000 altogether at level 8. And better aim and faster shooting. The rounds are faster, fly faster, apparently. Okay, so yeah, let's see how this looks like on the test server then. Nemesis also gets above the durability from 170,000, missing a K, to 180,000 right here. So 10,000 more, and better damage to bonus ratio. What? Damage to bonus. Is that with a shield? I think what they mean with this is that the damage when somebody hits your shield while you have the absorber shield active, that reinforces your damage output on the rockets, right? That's how they work with this retribution ability. That's why it's called retribution. And I think what they mean with this is here now that when you take more damage now on the shield, it better reflects or increases the damage output of your built-in rockets on the Nemesis. That's, I think, what is meant with this. The Strider will receive a buff, and you already know how much I love the Strider, guys. It's one of my favorite robots in the game, because it's one of those robots that really works best with skill. Like, you have a lot of skill and you know what you're doing. The Strider is your robot. You're gonna kick some serious butt on the battlefield when you control the Strider right. And it now gets a shorter cooldown on each dash regeneration. So instead of 12 seconds, 10 seconds to regenerate a dash. That's really good, because when you play the Strider, you constantly have the cooldown going on the dashes all the time. So having 10 seconds instead of 12 makes a big difference overall. Very interesting change, and it stacks. The longer you play the Strider, the better benefit you have gotten from this, right? So nice to see that. I like this. The Wayland has gotten a buff too, and it needed it because nobody was playing the Wayland. It wasn't really not very attractive. It has a faster mode change, so between healing and not healing, between mobility and stationary, you have a shorter switch, right? And then the repair radius is now 100 meters instead of 75 meters. That makes this officially the biggest healing range that there is in the game. Also, I think much bigger than the healing radius of the upcoming tier robot. So that probably helps to give the Wayland still its own reason to exist. And even though it can't move while being in healing mode. Repair power is 1450 to 1550. So I think per second at level 8, 1550 repair. And durability goes up from 235,000 to 250,000. Not quite the same level as the Invader, but definitely a lot of HP. And also the Leo is getting a buff in a second. The Mender gets a buff. It gets a 4th repair pulse. So far it has 3 healing pulses. Heal, heal, heal. And now it has a 4th pulse, a 4th one, and the repair power, however, goes down from 18,500 per pulse to 14,500. If we open the calculator just for a second here, then we can calculate 18,500 multiplied by 3, 55,000 heal 500 at level 8, before 55,500, and now 14,000 times 4 is 58. So it's doing overall 3,000 healing more. It's not that much, but you have a 4th pulse and it's divided differently. The Raijin gets a shield buff instead of 150,000 shield durability, and it has 2 of those, to the left and to the right. So it had 300,000 before, and now it has 170,000 on both shields. So that's 340,000 now altogether. Leo has received a durability buff with 226,000 going to 244,000 HP at level 8. That means the Leo can probably reach almost 400,000 HP or something with damage, with HP boosters modules. Maybe, I'm not sure, but it will now have some serious HP, especially when you have this thing on Mark II level 12. Wow, nice to see the Leo getting an older robot getting a buff right here. I really like this. Also the Raijin, although I think the Raijin should still get a faster switch between mobility and not mobility, and a better movement speed would help the Raijin a lot in my opinion. The same goes for the Leo. Some better movement speed would really be appreciated here. The Galahad also gets a durability buff on the shield, 120,000 to 140,000, right? So it's going to be a better physical shield now. So that was the changes to the robots only. And the video is already 12 minutes long. Holy moly. Alright, let's go and have a look at the weapons. The buffs. Everything I'm saying now is buffs. The Wasp gets a buff. Fire rate 1 shot per second, now 0.85 seconds per shot, right? So it's firing faster. With much more damage, 3,950 instead of 3,650, and corrosion is also increased from 400 to 500. So Wasp may actually be a more interesting solution now. I will be testing this as soon as it arrives on the test live server. Maybe also on the test server, but it's going to be hard to test all these changes on the test server this Saturday. Shock Train, oh man, I'm afraid of this. Oh boy, Shock Train receives a change in charges, so it will not have 7 charges anymore, it will now have 6 charges, but it will deal 2,215 damage per charge instead of 1,920. So I think overall, let's again calculate this. We have 1,920 times 7, that's what it was before, 13,440, now 6, okay, it's pretty much the same damage output still, but it should recharge faster, since it recharges a certain amount of charges per second, or basically every 2 seconds a charge or whatever, it reaches the full charge faster now, meaning it deals the full damage again quicker than before. Okay, Pulsar is getting an update. Oh man, Pulsar now fire rate, one shot, yeah, it fires almost 1/3 faster than before, and the damage is also going up. And you know that the Pulsar has already been a very powerful thing. If you haven't yet seen my video with the Pulsar Spectre ripping apart everything on the battlefield, it's up here on the upper right corner linked for you guys. Go ahead and check it out. It's going to be an insane display of what the Pulsar was able to do on the live server maxed out before, and now with this change, holy moly, the Pulsar is going to be absolute insanity. Shredder, also the lighter version of the lockdown weapon, has an increase on lockdown chance from 26 to 34%. It's probably okay because it didn't seem to lock down very effectively before. Now it does that more effectively, but altogether I still believe, and I will always say this, I think lockdown should not be a chance to happen. It should be more like you hit the target a certain amount of time, and after the such and such amount of hit, it procs a lockdown. This way you could use skill and knowledge better to either counter lockdown and getting cover before it happens, or to also more reliably use lockdown yourself if you know what you're doing. And less RNG, random number generators, and more skill instead. That's my opinion on the lockdown thing. But that's what coming here with the Shredder. Ion gets a damage increase, 1,000 damage more pretty much at level 8. Corona is getting a fire rate, a faster fire rate. It fires a good 20%, 25% faster now, and the reload time goes per charge is 1 second instead of 1.4 seconds. So Corona damage output per minute or per second, it doesn't matter, it's going up. Both of it is going up per minute because the recharge speed goes up drastically, so you fire continuously much longer, and then you also fire quicker in general. The Glory just deals more damage, 2,000 more damage than before. Is insane. That means it has even more distance between the Thunder and Glory, and there's even less of a reason to use Thunder ever again and just use the Glory. The Redeemer is changed, but it's not a huge buff, it's more a change really. Instead of firing 2 shots and then having a long reload and then 2 shots, it now fires 3 shots. Boom, 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 instead of boom, boom, which it did before. But it fires these shots quicker, like boom, boom, boom now, okay? And every shot deals less damage than the 2 shots did before, but since you have 3 now, overall it's still a slight buff. You will deal slightly more damage with the Redeemer now than before, but divided into 3 quicker shots than you had before with 2 slower shots. So that's the buffs of the weapons, okay? The nerfs of the weapons are Trident. Area of effect from 19 meters to 12 meters, so the explosion radius in which you can catch enemies with your damage is drastically reduced. I think it's reduced to the same point that Tulumbas are, which is weird, because the Trident is supposed to be the bigger and better version of the Tulumbas, the big godfather of it, that is supposed to have the bigger splash too. It's now taking the splash away. Huh. I'm not sure why. The damage output also goes slightly down, around 200 damage or 150 here on level 8 per rocket. Trident will still be very effective, but you will have it maybe a little bit harder to explode and catch someone behind cover. If somebody's hiding around the corner behind cover, you may not be able to reach him anymore with your splash radius. We're gonna see. Avenger is being changed. Damage per bullet, 835 to 775. So that's quite a nerf. Here, 50 or 60 per bullet, and it fires a lot of bullets, so it adds up to being a change. And a bit worse aiming on longer distances, okay? So interesting, when you fire, you have a bigger spread at long range, basically. Then Orkan weapon damage is being nerfed again. We had it last time already, and now it's being a little bit more of a change here. 1,670 damage per rocket to 1,540. It seems like Robots is going a little bit less on the fast kills. It seems like what Pixonic is trying to do here is make these ultra fast one-hit kills happen less often, right? Where a Spectre jumps on you and he kills you in 2 seconds or 3 seconds and then walks away laughing at you. And this may not be happening as much. Well, it's not that much of a change, but it's a little bit less of the instant kills. And this may be what Pixonic is trying to do here. I can only guess guess. It's not, I didn't come up with these changes, it's just me trying to analyze what may be behind them. So Tulumbas are getting also a nerf, 2610 damage to 2475. So also here 160 damage or so less per rocket at level 8. That is definitely a change, and the Halo is receiving a nerf, 6050 damage to 5550. So, yeah, 500 damage difference right here on each Halo shot, and I can't say I disagree because the Halo really was outperforming most other weapons on these light robots, and it was dealing insane amounts of damage, and, yeah, and also the Gust, a slight reduction, 300 damage per shot less, but here we see that the Halo actually does better than the Gust does, and the Halo has the lockdown, so it's the same as the Glory to the Thunder is. Thunder and Glory, it's more interesting to run the Halo than the Gust, and so is it to run the Glory, compared to the Thunder. Lockdown ammo, the module lockdown ammo will receive a little change so that the first shot you do after you activate the module will simply have a 100% lockdown chance, okay? And that's good because it's, you know, more reliable and more plannable for you, and instead of relying on some weird lockdown chance, now it's really just 100% after you activate the module. After all, you have spent power cells on that, and at least you should be able to lock down reliably. So that means, however, also that you must make sure you hit, right? If you fire Ember, for example, and you activate the lockdown module and now you fire the Ember and you miss your first tick of the Ember, then your target may not be locked down. You must make sure you hit that first shot. And then here now the second, that was all Saturday, right? The changes on Saturday will also be there in Sunday, but Sunday has the new robots also inside. Saturday will not have the new robots, only Sunday will have it. And Fenrir will be 3 kph faster than before. The Fenrir is going to be the new tanking flagship with massive firepower. It's going to obliterate any invader and any falcon easily because it will have so much more firepower while also staying incredibly tanky at the same time. Fenrir is going to be the new invader and the new falcon. I can already tell you this much, guys. And seeing that it gets faster and better and not worse and worse means also that this is a more likely scenario that I think. The Loki is changing. The cooldown time to switch from stealth to no stealth goes up to 7 seconds instead of 5. So if you unstealth, you will have to remain unstealthed for 7 seconds before you can re-stealth, okay? Still, I feel like it's still a mistake, or in my opinion, a mistake to go with the unlimited stealth, because you can still have it as long as you want. You just don't deactivate your stealth and then you're in stealth forever. I still must object here and say clearly that is not how I think this should be done, but it's just one man's perspective as usual, guys. Okay, I'm just saying what I feel like. What I feel is best. And the tier will not really receive a change, but the shield, the physical shield, should now be working for the next test server. So that was a 22-minute long blah blah video. I'm sorry. Maybe you want to see this nice ambassadorial transport of the Vorlon Empire of Babylon 5 right here on as my desktop wallpaper, at least to get some graphics to look at in between. But this is the whole list of the changes coming this Saturday and Sunday, a big list, and hopefully I was able to cover and explain things relatively well for you guys. If so, then yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and comment down below, and if you haven't already, hit subscribe as brutal as a man can hit for more. Thanks for bearing with me, you guys are awesome as always. Manni-Gaming signing off. Bye bye.